We fixing to make this town real smoking.
In this video, there's a few things that I want to talk about. Tekken has this collaboration that they're working on. We have some tweets from Harada, and I want to start off with this tweet from Nee. He says, there's not much reason for users to go to the lounge. There's not much of a reason to show their avatars. How about creating a deathmatch zone in the lounge? I suggest more long set ranked matches than the best of 3 match. It's necessary in the highest rank. And he tags Michael Murray and Harada. First off, I do think he's right. The Tekken Lounge, there's not really much to do. If you talk about the things that is exclusive to the Tekken Lounge that cannot be done anywhere else in Tekken, the only thing is Tekken Ball, which everyone was requesting at the start of the game, was celebrating at the start of the game. But if you go to a Tekken Lounge, Tekken Ball area, there's no one there. I don't know why Tekken players are very excited about these things, but then when it's added to the game, no one's there. That's a different discussion. Moving on to a tweet from Harada. Someone asked him, can we please put Kazuya back on the main menu? I think Tekken 7's menu where they have a bunch of clips play, a bunch of characters punching each other, it just looks cooler. Having the character stand there pointing at themselves or pointing off in the distance, it looks kind of silly in my opinion. But Harada responds to this and he says, I'm thinking of making a menu so that you can set to any character you want. Adjusting the lighting is actually a lot of work. It doesn't look good with the proper modifications. They're still playing around with this idea of letting you choose whichever character. In my opinion, I would say you should be able to choose multiple characters. Maybe the lighting would be too difficult for that. Or you could have it set to random so each time you go to the menu it's a different character. But regardless, I do like that the developers is interested in changing it, because they had this idea. They were like, oh, you know what would be really cool? What if we advertise the DLC characters on the main menu? And that kind of was their idea going into it. But seeing everyone have this gut reaction of not liking this character or that character, they're trying to adapt and change. Harada says, I would like to make some time somewhere. We would plan to introduce many improvements and enhancements, as well as many specifications that we have already begun working on, like the one that allows you to set your favorite character on the menu screen. However, since it takes a great deal of time to develop the next generation of consoles than in the past, the priority of putting improvements and enhancements is an important point. We would like to decide the priorities and dialogue with the community. I would like to have a forum such as discussions, but it's very difficult to do so with a simple panel, isn't it? We will have to talk about it at the Tekken Talk and gather feedback. Now, he says Tekken Talk as if there's some Tekken Talk confirmed. There isn't one that's currently confirmed. What I think they will plan to do is have a Tekken Talk take place at CEO. That's my prediction. But he mentions it here as if they have one scheduled when publicly there isn't. But then also on a flip note where he talks about having this forum where he can ask players this, questions and talk to them directly. I seen in a comment on one of my past videos, someone was saying, why don't they just have this directly in the game? When you go into the game, there could be a section that says forums. You can have polls, you can have questions, yes or no, multiple choice. You can do whatever you want directly in the game. You don't have to worry about bots or cheaters or this or that. It's directly in the game for the players and they can vote. I think that's a really good idea. Let's try to repeat that a little bit so Harada can catch wind and maybe he can actually implement it into the game. We have some tweets about Harada, Calibur, and Tekken, but first I want to get to this collaboration that everyone was talking about. When I opened up Twitter, this was immediately recommended to me. DJ Maxx Tekken collaboration confirmed. Get ready for the next battle. Now, I had no clue what DJ Maxx is or was, so I had to do a little bit of research, and basically I found out that DJ Maxx is a rhythm game. It's kind of popular in mostly Korea. There may be some other places that play it a lot, but I've seen mostly Korean people, players and whatnot talking about the game. And it's basically like a rhythm, game, and it plays music. And it seems like Tekken is going to be adding music into their game. Here's a tweet here from someone who's working on the game. Live streaming summary. And information about the next DLC has been released. We are pleased to announce that we will be collaborating with the 3D fighting game series Tekken. There are so many great songs from the previous games, so I'm looking forward to see how they will be incorporated into the rhythm game. So a lot of people were saying, oh, maybe add a Moonlight Wilderness, maybe add this, maybe add that. I do think what's really important about this is how they implement songs, right? If they choose, let's say, all of Tekken 5 and they put all of Tekken 5, okay, no big deal. But if they grab some of Tekken 5, some of Tekken 4, some of Tekken 3, some of Tekken 6, like if they just hand pick songs, that would mean that they're picking the most popular songs from past Tekkens. And the reason why that's important is because if you talk about them adding stages into Tekken 8, they will also pick the most popular. So which of the two they go, if they just pick a whole game or if they pick the most popular, that will just show us what the developers think the players want most, right? So that's why I'm interested in this, because it will just give us more information. More information is always better because we could just better predict and understand what's happening or what may happen. Now let's get to this tweet from Harada about Soul Calibur and DOA. He responds to someone, as for Soul Calibur, I think people are looking for a new Soul Calibur sequel itself, not a guest character. And Yoshimitsu, when the director Yamada offered to bring Yoshimitsu to Soul Calibur, I thought to myself, each Soul Calibur roster slot has a heavier meaning than Tekken. All the time it was difficult to include as many rosters in one title as Tekken due to the high cost creating character weapons. So it would not be a very beneficial decision for Soul Calibur to make the same character within a company. I offered the opinion that it was not a good decision for Soul Calibur to have the same characters as the same corporation title. However, Soul Calibur was a project with a strong narrative element. They were more interested in having Yoshimitsu appear in the story rather than Yoshimitsu fight style, so I agreed. And I think this is interesting. If you do just compare like the stories of Soul Calibur and Tekken, I do think Soul Calibur has a lot of stronger story elements there. Like they do a way better job of fleshing out their characters and letting them go on journeys. I often get a lot of flack for saying Mortal Kombat 1 story is better than Tekken 8. And the reason why I say that is because I think Mortal Kombat did a better job with its characters, each individual character, not just the main characters. And I feel like Soul Calibur does the same thing, where when you dive into each character's story and lore, use Yoshimitsu as an example. A lot of the lore and stuff we know about Yoshimitsu comes from Soul Calibur. Tekken doesn't really tell us anything over the 8 games that this guy's in. It tells us the beef with Brian Fury, Dr. Paskanovich is his friend. He once had a rivalry with Kunimitsu, but other than that, there's no real deep lore about the character Yoshimitsu himself. And that's what I think Soul Calibur does better. But on a side note, right, this tweet is kind of talking about guest characters and whatnot. And the fact that he said that people are more interested in having a new Soul Calibur than a guest character, I think they should do both. As for DOA, someone says, if not Soul Calibur, would you ever consider DOA character? Harada says, DOA is a difficult place to be. The situation is different from Virtual Fighter, but I still think that unless Kinotech announces a new numbered game or show a new active franchise, it will be difficult to collaborate with any meaning. So here's the thing, right? Harada's kind of riding off all of these ideas. He said no to Bloody Roar, basically no to DOA. He said kind of no to Soul Calibur. So we see what the other games are doing in terms of guest characters, right? Mortal Kombat, Peacekeeper, Omni-Man, Homelander, Street Fighter, Terry, we see what those other games are doing. What is Tekken going to do that's cool, that's exciting, and that's different? Harada saying no to all of these ideas, and it makes me wonder, well, what are you cooking up then? What do you have in store?